One of Ippo's biggest opponents wasn't in the ring. It was both a mental and physical battle. Mentally, he was never set out to compete on a world stage. Entering the ring with the mindset of a challenger can only take you so far. Against high-ranked boxers, that kind of mentality comes off as almost childlike, going in with the aura of a challenger instead of an intention of to win the match. And let's not forget all the accumulated damage Ippo started to suffer, which deteriorated both his body and mental health to the point where he had no choice but to quit boxing for his own well-being. But one character in particular saw through the warning signs that would lead Ippo down the path of disaster, and that guy is none other than Takamura. Now, Takamura is the literal definition of a menace to society. This guy does things to other characters that should have landed him in jail for life. He's just an all-around gigantic douchebag to people purely for laughs, and it rubs both other characters and us, the readers, the wrong way. But when it comes to boxing, he's always been dead serious. In many ways, boxing saved Takamura from being just another low-life brawler with no future, abandoned by his family, destined for prison, until Kabugawa randomly found him and took him into the gym. Through boxing, he found purpose. Since he always loved to fight, now he could test himself in a fair, squared ring against trained professionals to see just how strong he really was. Takamura always had the spirit of a champion, but he had to learn through experience what it takes to truly think like one. Through brutal fights and sheer will, he forged the mindset needed to pursue his goal of becoming a 6th Division World Champion. Now, when it comes to Ippo, his perspective on the sport is completely different. Ippo came from a place of self-doubt and insecurity. He saw boxing as a form of therapy to finally understand what it means to become a strong person. Kamugawa saw the potential Ippo had with his natural physical abilities, and Ippo slowly started to build up the mindset of a true champion. However, over time, Ippo only had a few matches where he entered the ring with the mindset of a champion, or with a true intention to win a fight. His goal was never about titles or glory. His only real objective was to discover the essence of true strength, and he believed the answer lay in fighting his rival Miyata in the ring. Around the time the fight was finally confirmed, Ippo was objectively in his best form as the reigning Japanese featherweight champion. His fight against Takamura was the moment he was finally accepted as a dominant national champion, someone that other fighters feared to challenge. Then came his fight against Karasawa, which made it clear that Ippo had outgrown the national scene. He destroyed the 7th ranked boxer in just 2 rounds with minimal effort, proving that he was ready for the international stage. But the only one who truly believed in Ippo's potential to global was Kamugawa. Ippo himself still saw things differently. He wanted to retire early, with the upcoming match against Miyata being his final fight. However, as you guys know, Miyata got injured, and Ippo had to face a veteran boxer named Take as a replacement. Despite Take being a southpaw with double the experience, Ippo overcame him too, by adapting his strategy on the fly and combining it with raw power to secure the win. It looked like Ippo wanted to end his career in a dominant way after finally defeating Miyata. However, Miyata came to him and apologized, saying he couldn't fight him because he had to deal with his daddy issues match first, the most mid-excuse possible. Ippo was initially shocked and had no idea what to do with his career anymore. With no clear goal ahead, he felt lost. But then Kabugawa stepped in and planted a new goal in his mind, to defeat Ricardo Martinez. To do that, Ippo would need to climb the rankings and challenge him at the top. This marked a major turning point in the story and in Ippo's boxing career. Ippo began to take more and more punches in his fights, even though he should have learned by then that he fights best when he's avoiding damage. My theory is that around this point, Ippo started to develop brain damage. In a cut arc where he meets Sanada mentions that Ippo no longer falls to the ground like before. He just takes punches that he would have normally dodged without much effort. These are early signs that the boxer is becoming punch drunk, and there's a reason why Morikawa placed this moment right after the Takamura fight, show that Ippo was slowly but surely taking on serious lasting damage. Take his fight against Jimmy Sissa for example. It was a literal death match. Jimmy gave it everything he had in a relentless infight, but Ippo had already faced several fighters before, like Sando Shimabukuro. He had made the same mistakes again, trading blows until one of them dropped. In this fight, Ippo saw something deeply unsettling, a light which symbolized Kamugawa. Jimmy in this arc also saw the same light and called it God. He claimed it appeared in fights where he took too much damage and that it gave him strength. strength. But you don't need to be a medical expert to realize that Jimmy's sister suffered from brain damage from years of brutal fighting. The light he saw was a visual hallucination or cortical response caused by extreme physical trauma to the brain, and it's commonly linked to concussion, lack to oxygen, or even near-death experience. Ippo saw the same light in that match, and even though it was never brought up again, the damage he took was permanent. In this fight against Malcolm motherfucking Ghetto, Malcolm used tricks to extend his reach, making it almost impossible for Ippo to get in close. But the thing is, Ippo had trained for the fight with Mashiba beforehand, who has an even longer reach. Plus, Ippo already had experience from earlier fights against long-range boxers. Yet in this fight, it looked like he didn't train at all. He ran straight into Ghetto's punches, even though the whole theme of the series is to train like hell to bring out your best performance. He just kept taking damage that he could have easily avoided. Sadly, no one in his camp really noticed that Ippo was getting beaten up in every fight. They kept attributing his wits to his fighting spirit, his will to keep going. And honestly, we don't even need to talk much about the Wally fight. On one hand, the fight just doesn't make any sense. Wally plays around with Ippo for 90% of the match, pulling off all kinds of impossible acrobatic mid-air moves. And the fact that Ippo ends up winning despite barely touching Wally throughout the entire fight, yeah, that doesn't have the logic at all. But this was the first time Takamura realized something was wrong with Ippo, and that was during his fight against Kojima. During the whole build-up to this fight, Kojima kept talking trash about Ippo, about his opponents, and about Kamugawa. Ippo couldn't just let that slide, and he wanted to teach Kojima a lesson in the ring. Takamura noticed before the match even began that Ippo wasn't the same anymore. Something was off. So he told Itadaki to warn Ippo to tell him not to fight in this fight headstrong. But Itadaki never delivered that message, because he wanted to see for himself what a of Ippo was capable of. And well, as you all know, the fight went exactly as expected. Kojima landed a punch that was basically like a 2-ton crash, and Ippo, through pure willpower, launched Kojima into the stratosphere and won the match. But Ippo's body simply couldn't keep up with his mindset anymore, and that became most clear in his fight against Alfredo Gonzalez. Before this match, Ippo had a sparring session with Sandor of the Volks World title win. Sandor actually won the spar, probably boasting about it to Takamura, but Takamura hobbled him real quick, telling him that Ippo had simply gotten weaker. Even before the big fight started, Takamura gave his honest take on it, saying Ippo was cooked and stood no chance against a legitimate fighter like Gonzalez. This fight was meant to expose the harsh truth. Ippo's and Kamugawa's style of boxing just isn't enough to survive on the world stage. Ippo only got as far as he did because of his unbreakable willpower. In the end, Ippo lost, and Takamura had an interesting inner monologue afterward. He thought that Kamugawa didn't need to look so devastated because at the end of the day, he still had him, Takamura, and that Kamugawa didn't need to be so desperate. After the fight, Takamura let out all of his frustrations by shadowboxing intensely, clearly affected by everything he just witnessed. Later, while training with Ippo for Takamura's world title match against Bison, Takamura straight up told Ippo that he had disappointed Kamugawa. Ippo clearly accepted the loss, but real boxers, those who want to keep going, make excuses for their losses. That's the difference between someone who still wants to grow and someone who's just a loser. Takamura told Ippo that he had reached his limit, and if he really wanted to continue, he'd have to cross the line Takamura had carved out. The line that, once crossed, would strip away your humanity and turn you into a monster. Ippo didn't get it at first, so Takamura made it clearer. A boxer has a limited window in life until age, health, or physical wear takes everything away. You have to push that time to its absolute limit while you still have it. Because your opponent isn't going to take it easy, they are going to come at you with everything they have and try to crush you. That's why Ippo's loser mindset, accepting things as they are, isn't good enough. You need a new attitude, whether it means changing your style, strengthening your mental game, or whatever it takes. This entire philosophy was perfectly shown in Takamura's fight against Bison. He quickly adapted and dominated Bison. Even when his right eye gave out and one of his legs was completely useless, he gave everything he had. Not to avoid losing, but to find a way to win. And even in that fight, Takamura worried he was making the same mistake Ippo did. Kamugawa was deeply concerned for Takamura's life, and in the end, Takamura sacrificed his toenails just to find some way to win. That's where the question comes in. Is Takamura jealous of Ippo? Jealous that Kamugawa gives Ippo more attention? And the answer to that is a little bit more complicated. Ippo fights because Kamugawa and the other boxers, including Takamura, have expectations for him. But Ippo's poor performance only ends up disappointing everyone, Kamugawa included. That's why Takamura said Ippo's mindset is weak. Just because other people have expectations of you doesn't mean you should fight. For Takamura, it's a bad idea that Kamugawa and the team spend so much time and care on Ippo because in the end, he'll just disappoint them. Takamura already knew Ippo had brain damage and wanted Kamugawa to accept that, but no one did. Even though Takamura is harsh towards Ippo, he's absolutely right. Ippo had accumulated damage, he wasn't performing like he used to, and he simply didn't have the hunger or mindset to become a world champion anymore. This contrast in mindset between these two was shown best in one of their last conversations before Ippo's final fight. Ippo told Takamura he was pushing himself too hard and shutting others out. He even asked Takamura if he wasn't lonely. Takamura corrected him. This is the path he chose. Many others want to go down it, but you have to eliminate other boxers along the way. At the top, you're alone. Not because it's sad or pathetic, but because it's extraordinary. Takamura didn't really care if Ippo lost or won. What he really cared for is that if Ippo really will actually deliver. Meaning if he will let Kamugawa down again. And in the end, Ippo lost. Takamura was right again in the end. And he reminded himself that he shouldn't get too emotionally attached to Ippo. He needs to focus on himself to win. Even though Takamura was right about Ippo's career coming to an end, Ippo did massively improve in the ring. The only thing he's still missing is a mindset like Takamura's. If he gets that, he could truly become a dominant machine in the ring. If you have enjoyed this video, then please leave a like and subscribe to my channel for more anime Ippo content. I'm the Reading Crow and thanks for watching.